much in favor of. We would still like to have everything go as scheduled. So I'd like to request Dr. Pema Samdo, who is with the Faculty of English in the School of Humanities here, to begin the program, please, and to take it forward. Pema.
Thank you, Auntie. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. May I, on behalf of the Director, School of Humanities, welcome you to the online launch of 6 new PG Diploma programs offered by the School of Humanities. May I request the COE to kindly play the Kulgeet, and ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the Kulgeet. Thank you, COE. May I call upon Professor Malti Mathur, Director, School of Humanities, to welcome our distinguished speaker and to give us an overview of the 6 new PG Diploma programs that we launched today. Professor Malti Mathur, Director, School of Humanities.
Thank you, Pema. Just to give Sanjukta the background, the Kulgeet that we played here today is something that one of our own faculty members has written, Professor Satyakam, who is with the Faculty of Hindi and is at present one of the Vice Chancellors of the university. And it has been set to music with the assistance of All India Radio. So this is something that we make sure that we play before any webinar or any program or event that the university holds, because these are the kind of songs that we carry back with us. So any alumni, always when they think of the university or the school that they have studied in, the first thing they do remember, is this the school song or the college song or whatever. So this is something special for us. And I would like to say how delighted I am to be able to welcome Professor Sanjukta Dasgupta. She's a poet, she's a writer, a critic. She is so active all the time. She keeps writing letters to the editor. She, it just bubbles out of her all the time. She is also a very distinguished faculty member, an ex-faculty member. And at the moment, she is with the Sahitya Academy. She is the convener of the English studies part of the whole thing, on the English scholars and anything that has to do with English literature and the translations from various languages into English. Sanjukta is heading that group. And I am so glad I was able to get her for this event because Sanjukta is a very busy person, jetting around. Even when I talked to her that day, she was on her way to the airport. And I practically caught her just as she was boarding. And I said, no, you just have to say yes to us. So thank you so much, Sanjukta, and a very, very warm welcome to you. I'm very happy that we have someone like you here to preside over this launch of the 6 new PG diplomas that we have prepared and developed. It is actually already on offer, and it is open to students to take admission. But this is a formal event so that there is more awareness about these programs. And one thing that I need to tell you before I go into the details of the programs, as Pema has instructed me to, is that these 6 PG programs serve a threefold purpose, actually. One is that they are standalone programs. Anyone can enroll in any one of these PG diplomas. It could be someone who has already done an MA and a PhD in English, someone who is already teaching somewhere perhaps, and who would like to add to their specialization. So maybe someone who needs to maybe teach a specific kind of a course would benefit from this, and also someone who wants to do research. So they would be able to get a wider range of reading and more background material in order to continue with their research or even to identify their research concerns. So that is one thing that they can do. The other is that it serves as the exit point for those who have enrolled for an MA but are unable to continue or to complete it for any reason. It could be personal, it could be professional. And so they are given this opportunity to leave after 1 year, but they don't leave empty-handed. They go back with at least a PG diploma. And the third thing that comes out of these PG diplomas is that it also can serve as a lateral entry point. So not just an exit, but an entry point as well. So someone who has already done a PG diploma, one of these, and wants to get back and complete their MA after a few years, maybe, the credits would be transferred and they can straight away go into the second year. So this is a very, very student-friendly, a very, very flexible kind of program that we have envisaged. And we sat around tweaking it a little bit, trying to see how best we can model the entire thing so that there is no confusion and that there is some kind of a logic to the way in which it is structured. So this is something that the English faculty is very proud of, because this came out of the NEP's directions that we should offer an exit policy for all our MA programs. So when we were working on that, and at the same time, we were also working on changing the structure of our existing MA. The existing MA had the conventional kind of thing in which you had all the British genres as compulsory courses in the first year. And then you had a slew of optional courses in the second year, along with a couple of other compulsory courses. And what we did was we put them together into modules. So we said students can pick up one of these compulsory courses, which is we obviously have to do, but then they can also choose to take up some other courses which would be in a specific module. So that is what has now given us the opportunity to be able to offer PG diplomas in various fields. Because if they pick up a particular module, then they get a PG diploma in that particular module, like British literature or whatever it may be. And I'm so glad that Dr. Pema Sando has been talking about altering the structure, the MA structure, for years and years. Every English faculty meeting we had, she would bring it up and she would say, why don't we make it modular? Why do we continue with what we have been doing for so many years? And she's been at it for quite a while. And I'm glad that we were finally able to do it this time, and it's already on offer. So the MA English is now on offer in a modular format, in which there is one mandatory course in the first year and one in the second year, and then students have to opt for a particular module. So I'd like to talk about the various PG diplomas one by one, so that there is more clarity about the kind of modules, the kind of courses that are on offer. So if we could share the screen. Well, the first one, of course, there is no hierarchy, first or second or whatever. They're all equally good. This is in new literatures in English, where now one thing that we have done is we have made literary theory and criticism compulsory for all the modules, for all the PG diplomas, because literary theory and criticism is something that is really, really crucial to the understanding of literature. And as I said earlier, if this is something that leads students on towards research activity, this is something that is extremely useful to them, because this is something that they would require at the research level. So literary theory and criticism is a compulsory course. It's for 8 credits. And Sanjukta, I'd just like to clarify that in IGNOU, 1 credit is equal to 30 hours of study. So this is an 8-credit course. And any 3 of the other courses, new literatures in English, which would be basically an introductory course, it would be an overview. Then we have one which is specifically on Australian literature. Then we have a survey course in 20th century Canadian literature. And then we have a new course which has been added to the basket recently, and that is about the Australian novel. So it is a very specific kind of a module that is here, which gives some kind of a variation in what the texts would be and what the genres would be as well. The next one is a postgraduate diploma in British literature. Now, what was happening earlier with the MA, which I said we restructured, was that we were following the old canon of offering all the British literature, all the courses which comprised British literature as compulsory courses. And we decided that now in this post-colonial, decolonized, whatever, recolonized, whatever you want to call it, in this era, we need to get out of that mindset. And we decided that we are going to do away with making British literature compulsory. And we have then put it together in a module. We already had various courses on British poetry, drama, and the novel. And of course, like I said, the literary theory and criticism would continue to be a compulsory course. So this, anyone who opts for this would exit with a postgraduate diploma in British literature. All our courses are 8 credits each, and they come up to a total of 32 credits, because our MA program is at the moment for 64 credits, both years of MA. And we plan to increase the credits for both the MA and the PG diplomas correspondingly, because we now have to, the NEP we have got new directives which say that an MA program has to be from 72 to 80 credits. So I think we will soon be adding to the credits for both of them. So postgraduate diploma in American literature, as the title suggests, of course, is along with the literary theory and criticism paper, the compulsory paper. We have American literature, which is again an overview. And we have the novel, the drama, and the poetry, everything to do with American literature. And the students have the choice of opting for any 3 of these 4 courses. This is a diploma in writings from India. There is a little bit of a spelling mistake, which we seem to have overlooked. We make that right. We have Indian English literature, we have English studies in India, and we have contemporary Indian literature in English translation. So it is something that is rooted in the Indian ethos, both in translation and in the writing. The next one is writing from the margins, which is, as the course suggests, is something that we have picked up. The kind of writing that we have picked up is not exactly mainstream writing. It's not considered mainstream writing. So we have one course, MEG 13, which says writings from the margins, which brings in a whole lot of writing from various sections of Indian society and from the world. So it is not just Indian writing. And we have also included contemporary Indian literature in English translation in this as well, because writing in the bhashas is still not considered really mainstream until it is translated into English, and then it is offered and it is accessible to a larger range and varied range of people. And Indian folk literature, of course, again, is something that is not really mainstream, although it forms the backbone of so much of all our literature, but it is still it still comes to us from the margins. This is a course which is devoted completely to the novel. So we have the British novel, the American novel, and the Australian novel. So this course, this PG Diploma will introduce students to the genre of the novel, what exactly it is all about. There will be an introduction to the idea of the novel, and we talk about the novel in the various continents. So that was a very brief overview, and I hope that all those who have joined us from the regional centers, all our regional directors, would be able to understand and get an idea of what we are trying to do with these PG diplomas. So because Sanjukta, we here at the school just develop the courses, and we get them printed and sent to the students, and we get them uploaded on our website. But it is the regional centers which really are in contact with the students, the counselors there who offer face-to-face counseling. So they are the ones who are actually dealing with the students for whom all our programs and courses are meant. So I do hope that this overview would help them to know exactly what we are doing, because I think in a certain way, there is a little bit of a confusion regarding the modular thing that we have introduced. And I think that having seen what these various modules are and having seen what the structure of the program is, the students will be able to get a better idea of what they are enrolling for. So along with this, I was just waiting to
Malti, you're mute.
Okay.
You've been mute.
It gets mute sometimes. I don't know. I haven't done anything. Anyway. So I'm glad that so many people have joined us from the headquarters, from the school, and also from the regional centers, because it's so important for the regional centers to be a part of whatever we are doing, and to be completely updated about what we are offering and what we are trying to do. And this is a very good opportunity for us to introduce our PG Diploma programs. And I would like to welcome you all again and say thank you to all of you for sparing your time to be with us, because it is such an encouragement whenever we do something in the school, and there are so many people here to on the sidelines cheering for us, listening to us, listening to whoever we have invited here. because whoever we invite has something so much to offer to us, so much, so, give us such advice and suggestions and make it all seem so meaningful. And I see that our Vice Chancellor has joined us as well. So good afternoon, sir, and a very warm welcome to you as well. And I'd like to hand over to Pema again to continue with the launch.
Thank you, Professor Malti Mathur. Welcome, sir. Sorry we missed you earlier. Professor Sanjukta Dasgupta is the convener of the English Advisory Board, Sahitya Academy, India's National Academy of Letters. She is also the President, Executive Council of the Indian Poetry and Performance Library, ICCR, Kolkata. Visiting Professor of Jagiellonian University, Krakow in Poland. And of course, she was a professor in the Department of English and also the former dean in the Faculty of Arts, Calcutta University. She has been a recipient of a number of fellowships, including the Fulbright Postdoctoral Fellowship, Fulbright Scholar in Residence Grant, Australia-India Council Fellowship, Gender Studies Fellowship Grant, University of British Columbia, among others. And she has obviously been invited to participate in conferences and teach or lecture at universities across the globe. Her recent awards include the IWSFF Women's Achievers Award, Kolkata 2019, and the WEI Kamala Das Poetry Award of 2020. As Professor Malti Mathur mentioned, she is a poet, a short story writer, a critic, a translator, and she has many books to her credit. I'm not going to read out the list of her publications because you can do a Google search and she has many books, but I would like to share her areas of interest, which include post-colonial theory and texts, colonial and post-colonial women's writing, migration, diaspora studies, literature and film, women and in Indian films, translation studies, and creative writing. May I now request Professor Sanjukta Dasgupta, former Dean, Faculty of Arts, Calcutta University, to kindly share her thoughts with us. Professor Dasgupta.
Yeah. Thank you, Pema, for that very, very generous introduction.
Welcome, ma'am.
Respected Vice Chancellor of the Indira Gandhi National Open University, Professor Nageshwar Rao, the Director of the School of Humanities, Professor Malti Mathur, a very dear friend, Professor Pema Eden Samdu and Professor Neera Singh of the School of Humanities, and those who have joined this outstanding online launch event of 6 cutting-edge postgraduate diploma courses in English, which is also not only cutting edge, but cutting off from the dominant British literature structure, which most of us had to study. 75 years after India's independence, this is, of course, the way forward and the way to go. So, hello, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity, GNU. And of course, the Director of the School of Humanities, the dynamic and multi-talented Professor Malti Mathur. This is honestly a learning experience for me, as I have been schooled, trained, and taught in a traditional university. In fact, Calcutta University, where I studied and taught, and where I engaged in academic administration as Dean of the Arts Faculty, was the first university to be set up by the British in India in 1857. A traditional university system, as we all know, follows a rigorous curriculum, often runs the risk of advocating fragmentary education, where there is no open window that can encourage a liberal approach and stimulate intellectual curiosity and creativity. I was a student at the honors level at the Presidency College in Calcutta, which was founded in 1817 as Hindu College and was renamed as Presidency College in 1855. It is considered to be the oldest college not only in India, but in Asia during the modern period. Alas, it is this same college and same university, Presidency College and Calcutta University, from which the poet Rabindranath Tagore withdrew with alacrity, voluntarily, as he felt that such institutions were utterly claustrophobic and severely impaired his creative freedom. Tagore, as you know, later founded his own university, Vishwabharati University, in 1921. If in 1921, technology had been available as it is available now, more than 100 years later, in 2022, Tagore's Vishwabharati University could have been India's first open university. And so now we have IGNOU, the Indira Gandhi National Open University, which was set up in 1985. Moreover, the education in such urban-centered traditional institutions such as Calcutta University, among many others in our country, have catered to the advantaged, cultured, and educated sections of society. The percentage of students in these institutions of privilege, therefore, was minuscule, while thousands of Jude the obscure from rural sectors, first-generation learners, and those who have not had the opportunity to enroll and pursue courses systematically, remind us of the frustrated and depressed young man Jude of Thomas Hardy's novel of the same name. Jude the obscure, like his global and local sisters and brothers, yearned for guided education to feed his intellectual inquisitiveness. Jude had desired to be part of the mainstream culture of privilege through job opportunities that such diplomas and degrees can make available. Thankfully, the Judes in the 21st century India no longer suffer the plight of Thomas Hardy's Jude the obscure due to such facilities as open universities and distance education. It is here that the openness of the open university comes into effective play, as the presence of such universities globally and locally, such as IGNOU, that was founded in 1985, which I referred to earlier, that is almost 35 years ago, probably initially taking its cue from the UK-based open universities that emerged around 1969. But what we often miss during our reference to IGNOU is the defining, crucial, and descriptive phrase that is tagged to the name of the university. That is the Indira Gandhi National Open University. And these are the crucial signifiers, the People's University. As I understand it, a People's University such as IGNOU is an inclusive university system that is not discriminatory, elitist, classist, or ageist. It welcomes learners from diverse backgrounds of all age groups. It is affordable. It is structured following national and international educational standards, as we notice in the fashioning of these 6 cutting-edge diploma courses that span the home and the world, the global north and the global south, as it features 1-year postgraduate diploma courses in American literature, British literature, new literatures in English with emphasis on Australia, primarily followed by Canada, writings from the margins that focuses on non-mainstream subaltern literature, writings from India that includes both Indian English literature, that is the dynamic literature in the making, and the time-tested Indian literature from different Indian states written in vernacular languages that have been translated into English. And finally, a postgraduate diploma course on the novel involving both theory and literary texts of Britain, Australia, and Canada. What is also interesting is the very structured diploma courses that have been offered. In each case, there is an emphasis of 8 credits for theory, literary theory, and criticism. This is absolutely crucial and very, very necessary part of any literature course, followed by, of course, the texts. And so the 32 credit courses that Malti spelled out in a more detailed manner, I think are so well structured that there is no reason why students would find these not doable, as they say nowadays, and rather they would welcome these structures of 32 credits, and I'm sure they will also perform creditably in the process. So as I was referring to Calcutta University, as I began, I would also like to refer to the fact that Calcutta University is now 170 years old. So we are Calcutta University in Kolkata. That is something, a bit of a confusion for many people. So I just want to define that. The city is Kolkata, but we are Calcutta University. Still very British, you could say. And IGNOU is a young adult, opening itself up to the 21st century, where inclusivity and intersectionality are the targets, as the carefully selected and brilliantly curated 6 diploma courses clearly state. Also, the use of multimedia approaches, self-instructional print material, audio and video programs, assignments, counseling sessions, teleconferencing and interactive radio counseling, as well as face-to-face contact classes, establish the required rapport and empathy between the teacher and the taught, the institution and its students. Interestingly, the IGNOU instructional targets are in sync with the new National Education Policy of 2019, which states that it endeavors to provide a framework for the transformation and reinvigoration of the education system in order to respond to the requirements of fast-changing, knowledge-based societies, while taking into account the diversity of the Indian people, their traditions, cultures, and languages. Now, this is absolutely crucial. We do not want to go global, where the global is 75% and the local is 25%. We have to go global, where there is absolutely a 50-50 balance. The highest priority is accorded to the task of ensuring universal access to an education, according to the National Education Policy again, of high quality and breadth that would support India's continued ascent, progress, and leadership on the global stage in terms of economic development, social justice, and equality, among many other clauses. An education system built on the premises of quality and equity is considered central to sustainable development, achieving success in the emerging knowledge economy and society, for socio-economic mobility, and for building an equitable, just, and humane society. That is an extract that I read from the National Education Policy. And so what does the postgraduate diploma course do? It is a process of intellectual nurturance that has its own autonomy, and yet it can be a bridge to further intellectual adventures and aspirations, most often leading to the gritty resonance of a degree. These 6 PG diploma courses have been structured with remarkable expertise, foresight, and an understanding of the academic objectives and perspectives that will be helpful to students who are interested in eventually pursuing a master's degree and further research in their chosen areas of interest. In the early 20th century, once again, reverting to Tagore as a Bengali, we are absolutely use Tagore. It's almost like an alter ego of ourselves. So Tagore had provided a blueprint for a holistic education while he interrogated fragmented knowledge. And in his essay on education, Tagore had therefore written that education can only become natural and wholesome when it is the direct fruit of a living and growing knowledge. Our education should be in full touch with our complete life, economic, intellectual, aesthetic, social, and spiritual. And our educational institutions should be in the very heart of our society, connected with it by the living bonds of varied cooperations. For true education is to realize at every step how our training and knowledge have organic connection with our surroundings. I therefore earnestly hope that these 6 postgraduate diploma courses in English introduced by IGNOU from this year will instill in the students a fearless mind as they understand the benefits of knowledge without borders and boundaries, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, according to the prayer of Tagore, where the mind is without fear. So here's wishing the 6 PG diploma courses in English of IGNOU a successful journey in this Jan Jan Ka Vishwavidyalaya. I sincerely hope that these student-friendly courses will enrich, empower, and enhance the ambitions of the students to scale further heights and secure job opportunities as well, which is the only way to sustain and practice what one has learned in educational institutions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor.
Sanjita, thank you for bringing in Thomas Hardy, for bringing in Rabindranath Tagore, and bringing it all together to form such a meaningful mosaic, and to be able to correlate it to all that we are trying to do with our PG diplomas. And I cannot tell you enough how grateful I am for the appreciation that you have expressed for our programs, and how motivating it is to hear you say that it is something that has been well structured, and it is something that will offer our students a wide scope, not just to increase their knowledge, but also lead up to various employment avenues. So thank you so much. And I'm sure Pema is feeling extremely gratified because she has worked on the modules. And I mean, we sat and we tweaked it and tried to see which course could fit into which module, which could then lead to a meaningful degree, even if it is not a complete MA degree, it's just a PG diploma. But it is something that Pema has accomplished, and I'd like to congratulate her. And I'm glad that we were able to do this. Thank you so much, Sanjita.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Dasgupta, for sharing your very, very kind words on our university and the role that open universities play in general, and the work that IGNOU has done in particular. And you have also highlighted IGNOU's role, in achieving the goals and objectives of both the SDGs as well as the NEP. And like Professor Malti Mathur said, thank you for bringing in Jude the Obscure, and of course, Rabindranath Tagore. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
May I now request Professor Nageshwar Rao, the Honorable Vice Chancellor, IGNOU, to address all of us. We are waiting for you, sir.
Good evening to all of you. I was listening carefully to Dr. Das Gupta. The way she appreciated the contribution of IGNOU and as well as the School of Humanities, especially the discipline of English. We all feel motivated and inspired. The school is really doing well under the leadership of Professor Malti Mathur. And I know that this particular idea, it has come from Pema. And now the students, they want a specific diploma in a specific area. And most of these areas, they are with the PG program for the English. But the emphasis of these specific areas, it is not reflected when that is being put in our prospectus. And now once we see that this is a postgraduate diploma and covering to these 6 areas, suddenly the thrust on these areas, it has come up. And most of the learners now, they are looking into these areas specifically. Yes, there is a postgraduate diploma in those areas. The areas are not known, the areas were not visible, and still the people are having the interest. The idea, it needs to be appreciated, because when the national education policy has come up, and it tells us that instead of going for 2 years program or 3 years program, we must try to have our program split into the certificate programs. In case of undergraduate, the first year completion, the certificate program, second year completion, the degree, the diploma, and third year is the degree. The same is the story with respect to PG programs. And here, if a particular area, if the student completes, then he may be given the degree of the postgraduate diploma. Earlier, it was not there. So there are losers also. They want to study that particular area, and that is not being reflected in their degree or in the diploma also. Of course, it is the first year. The numbers are not very encouraging, but I must compliment the school that they should not dishearten, because this is a new experiment and the new way of looking at the things. The work which you have done, that needs to reach to the learners. And you all have done the great work, because preparation of the self material for the learners, it is not an easy task. We have got lots of textbooks in all those areas, but they're not serving the purpose. Rightly said by the Das Gupta, that it is the Jan Jan Ka Vishwavidyalaya. The material which we prepare, it is for Jan Jan. It is understandable to them. They can self-learn the whole discipline, the whole degree, the whole contents. And that is a thrust which is being reflected in the curricula. I must appreciate each one in the school, especially the faculty in the School of English, because now it is having the senior faculty. Indira Singh is present over here. and also the newly joined faculty who have got a lot of enthusiasm to see that the learners, what they want and how they are to be presented. And this unique experiment, it has paved the way to other schools also to think in the same direction. I sincerely compliment all the faculty for this endeavor. And I'm also thankful to the Das Gupta, who has motivated and inspired all of us. Especially compliment to my colleague Prema ji, who always thinks in terms of innovative experiments. Wishing you all the best. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your kind words for the school. May I now call upon Professor Neera Singh, Professor of English, School of Humanities, to deliver the vote of thanks.
A very good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of the Faculty of English, School of Humanities, it is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks to all of you who are present here with us today. My thanks go out not only to the people who have joined in from the headquarters here in Delhi, but also to our guests from the regional centers across the country. We've had an extremely illuminating address by our chief guest this afternoon, and we are in no doubt whatsoever that our 6 postgraduate diplomas are going to be as successful as our other English programs. I would first and foremost like to place my deep sense of gratitude to our esteemed chief guest, Professor Sanjukta Das Gupta, for being here with us today. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your insightful and lucidly articulated address. You've actually provided so much value through your inspiring speech. Your encouragement and motivation is indeed heartening. We are very grateful to you. Secondly, I would like to thank our esteemed Vice Chancellor, Professor Nageshwar Rao, who has always steered us in the right direction. His words, as always, were encouraging and hugely motivating. Sir, with your keen administrative acumen, you've always made us feel that as long as we work honestly at the tasks assigned to us, we are fine. But we'll also be taken to task for any non-performance. But puns aside, it's a privilege and a pleasure to be working under your guidance. Thank you, sir. Next, I would also like to thank our outstanding Pro-Vice Chancellors, whose leadership and vision is steering our various schools and divisions in the right direction. All of them are always there to provide support and guidance whenever required. I would be failing in my duty if I didn't record my heartfelt gratitude to our formidably bright director, Professor Malti Mathur, who has that singular quality of a good leader, that is investing in each person individually and yet managing to pull everyone together. Professor Mathur is generous when it comes to sharing her knowledge, and the humongous corpus of work that she has got done for the school is really creditable. Thank you, Professor Malti. A very big thank you to the technical team of the COE, the Center for Online Education, for always helping out with our online meetings and seeing to it that all the technical aspects are taken care of so smoothly. A heartfelt thanks to the staff of our school who work really hard to get the work done. And last but not the least, I'd like to thank all my wonderful colleagues of the School of Humanities, especially the English faculty and PEMA in particular, whose hard work has actually paid off now in the form of these 6 postgraduate diplomas. Great going, PEMA. The English faculty members are like a family and are always ready to help each other, as all team players should. In case I've left anybody out, please forgive me. It's purely an oversight. With sincere feelings of gratitude, I now take your leave. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Neera Singh. Sir and Professor Maltimathur, with your permission, we could bring an end to our online launch, and we thank everybody who has been a part of it, particularly Professor Sanjukta Dasgupta, who spared time for us.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Pleasure.
Right.